week 1 overreactions. Now, these are just sweeping declarations. These are not just about the upcoming week. These are going to be about just overreacting to things that happened this week. And hopefully we're going to have some total insanity upon us here. So, Joe, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I would love to kick you off. So we're going to start with Hunter Renfrow is dead. This is my overreaction for the week, and I think it is absolutely true here. There is a new lady that has caught the eye of Derek Carr, and it's Devontae Adams. And he doesn't give a shit about anyone else on this team anymore because he has Devontae Adams now. So Hunter Renfrow had 6 targets, caught 3 of them for like 21 yards. Everyone was really high on Hunter Renfrow going into the season. I saw this coming on here, so you guys drafted him, not me.
I actually didn't.
I was talking to people that have.
Oh, sorry, you're talking to the you're talking to the past.
No, I see. I know where you're coming from. It seemed like I targeted you too, but it was in the general populace of fantasy football players that have Hunter Renfrow on their team.
I felt the eyeballs. Yeah, he was actually going really high, and I felt like I was like they barely had Renfrow and Waller, and it's not like there wasn't like anyone who could catch a ball on the team. It was just the targets went to 2 people. And so now it's obviously Adams and Waller. Waller still had a pretty valuable game as well, which was nice to see after the injury. So I completely agree. I don't have anything to add to that. I'm
targets for Renfrow.
Peppered.
Or for Adams, Jesus.
Peppered with targets.
I think you're right. I think he will have some splash games this season, but as a whole, yeah, not.
He's not the every week lineup guy, wide receiver 2, like you had last year. It's not happening anymore.
Right. Very concerning. All right, Josh, you want to go?
Yeah. So once again, this is an overreaction. So before anyone like burns me and
this is the overreaction segment.
I just want to say this. Carson Wentz is a valid starter in 12-man lineups right now. He is currently the QB 3 and threw for 4 touchdowns. Yes, he did have some Carson Wentz-y type behavior out there, but I have to say this man is a valid starter right now. We saw Tom Brady. We saw Aaron Rodgers. We saw Matt Stafford. We saw Joe Burrow, albeit he did fix it at the end. We saw a bunch of the top few starters just have really bad games and never looked good again, except for, with the exception of Joe Burrow there. But 4 interceptions, 2 interceptions. Yeah, Wentz had 2 interceptions. You know what else he did? Threw for almost 400 yards. So,
I mean, on one hand, you're right. I agree completely with what you're saying. On the other hand, they're playing Jacksonville, so.
My point exactly.
It's due to the sheer talent around him, not because of Carson Wentz.
Can I hijack this to throw some water on another piece of this Washington offense, and that's Jahan Dotson. So I know that it looked great when he caught 2 touchdowns in this game. I understand that looked beautiful, and you probably were like, I've caught lightning in a bottle here. He's
the next Justin Jefferson.
He only had 3 targets the whole game. That is not good. That is efficient. I'll give you that. But as far as like him being an every week starter, I still think it's extreme. Like in the same game, Travis Etienne dropped 2 touchdowns. Like that's how fickle this stuff is. And like everybody's like this week panicking on Etienne, but yet saying that Dotson is like the next big thing. And I'm just here to tell you this fantasy football doesn't work like this. It doesn't always go your way. I just have to say it.
I'm going to hijack your soapbox and pour some water on another guy, Mr. Curtis Samuel, who had 11 targets in this game. Had a pretty good game. We'll say that. But at the end of the day, it is Curtis Samuel. He has never done it at this point. People are dropping good established players to get Curtis Samuel on their team. I'm not seeing it. The way this offense is built, you have a true alpha in Terry McLaurin. You have a red zone guy apparently in Dotson. Curtis Samuel in the middle. Logan Thomas made a surprise comeback. We got the running backs. We got J.D. McKissick. There's a ton of mouths to feed. I'm going to chalk this up to he had a good matchup this week. I'm not going head first into the deep end on Curtis Samuel.
Okay. After naming all those guys, do you kind of feel a little bit more comfortable? Like, holy shit, I could start Wentz if I had, Stafford right now, and I'm not feeling very comfortable.
I don't hate your Wentz take. I think it's a very good. I hope.
Again, this is an overreaction. I'm not starting him this week, but I'm.
As much of an overreaction as it is, I actually feel to come to terms with it. So let me get on to my overreaction, which is trade every single Cowboy that you have on your football team. And that includes Micah Parsons. And it's not because I think Micah Parsons is bad. I just think, and who knows, you have TJ Watt go out now and now these players are way more valuable. I just think what you could get for Micah Parsons right now might be the most and highest like spot that you're going to have Micah Parsons for the entire rest of the season. And as far as the offensive pieces go, under Cooper Rush, I don't think they're going to be very good. I don't like what I've seen from Cooper Rush this far. I don't like the Cowboys unless they trade for a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo, for example, even though they would not do that, I don't think. And I don't really like when Dak is there. Last season, it was very sketchy anyway, what was going on with Dak. We were very weirded out and concerned, and we chalked it up to he was injured the entire season. Well, guess what, guys? We're starting off with a thumb fracture right off week 1. And you think that's going to be feeling good after 4 weeks? No, it's not. It's going to linger the entire season. Get me out of the Cowboys market.
I like that overreaction. Honestly, the Micah Parsons one, I don't know if this is why you're saying this, but honestly, to trade out of Micah Parsons right now is they're not going to be in the pass rush as much because they're probably going to be playing down a lot. So there's probably going to be a lot of rush D. He'll probably still get the tackles now that he's playing at the linebacker slot, but those sacks are probably going to be dwindling a little bit. Instead of 1 to 2 sacks, he might have 0 to 1. So
I just think his value will never be as high as it is right now. I think it's only going to get middling. Possible, it can only go down. Honestly, I think, especially if a TJ Watt manager is panicking, try to feast on somebody on their team that they need. This is a perfect opportunity. Dynasty, obviously, don't do anything stupid, but redraft. I think you should at least touch to see what the manager's thinking.
Yeah,
I smell what you're stepping in. I don't mind it.
Okay, Joe.
All right, so my other one, Cam Akers, is droppable and has 0 value. Guys, we're getting a ton of these questions about Cam Akers, and I disagree here. What happened week 1 was very upsetting, but people are absolutely overreacting to this one. And I've actually read several articles saying that Darrell Henderson is elite. Elite. I mean, dude, he's efficient. Can we all agree that Darrell Henderson's a very efficient fantasy football player? When he has the role, he puts up the points. I wouldn't say anything that man does is elite. I mean, maybe he's good at crocheting or something that I don't know.
He's elite at being average.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. But Cam Akers, honestly, is a good guy to try to buy low on right now because he is bottom of the barrel. People are so upset with him. It's ridiculous. And it's a long season. So as much as we throw shade on Cam Akers and told you guys not to draft him in the 3rd round, right now, he's actually at a value and could become very valuable at the end of the season. Were to Darrell Henderson be injured, which he always seems to be injured at some point, and the Rams offense is going to play better than it did Monday. So come on, quit overreacting on Akers.
Oh, I thought you were saying that Cam Akers actually is human garbage because that's how I was feeling about it.
No, I was disagreeing with this overreaction from the fantasy community.
Oh, no, okay. I do disagree with you on this. I think Cam Akers is garbage. My apologies. I thought you were saying – I missed what you were smelling.
I do too. And it's not because of, I think Cam Akers was at one point a fine running back. I think that Sean McVay not using him in a game that they absolutely needed every good player on the field at all times, and to have Jake Funk out there more than him, I just don't love it. I just don't love it for Akers, and that makes me scared that McVay might know something that we don't. And we can only tell by what happens on the field rather than what we think could happen.
It's kind of like the Todd Gurley injury. It was very similar to that. 3 carries for 0 yards to me is telling right there. And the fact that you said it, Jake Funk was on the field. Why?
Because he's got a cool name.
He does have a cool name, but you'd think that Cam Akers should be available in the passing game at the very least, and not to see a target, but to have 2 carries for 0 yards just hurts me. I don't know.
I'm just saying he has some value still. It's not
okay. If somebody out there sells him for something that is like what what you're considering like really buying low, please send us a DM on Twitter. Like, DMs are open. Send us a picture. I would love to see what somebody's able to pull off for Cam Akers.
So I was out on Cam Akers before the Achilles injury. I don't know if you guys remember that a couple years back, but I guess last year, I just don't see it. I mean, people just crowned him king. It was very similar to the Trey Lance thing where we're just crowning him a top 5 running back or a top 5 quarterback. Like it didn't make any sense to me. And then coming back from that Achilles injury and then seeing this, it's kind of just all confirmed it for me. I'm glad that I have no
Josh hates rookies, guys.
I don't hate rookies. I hate people that crown rookies. Look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Where, I mean, yeah, he caught 2 touchdowns this week, but like as a second round pick 2 years ago, he's been a bust. I mean, comparatively to where they just crown him. And honestly, I think Breece Hall went in a really relatively good spot this year as a rookie, like the best rookie running back. But
and of course, Kyle Pitts, right? I mean,
once again, stop putting vaulting rookies above like actual proved players. That's my thing.
I had to do it, Joe. I'm sorry.
It's fine. You're good. All right. Anyway, let's get into mine. Mine is Cordarelle and Cordarelle. The CC's Pizza himself is an RB2 for the foreseeable future. 22 carries, 120 yards and a touchdown. A couple catches on top of that. 3 other carries went to running backs. Mariota did have like 12 or 13 carries himself, but Cordarelle Patterson is proved that he is a valuable running back, and we see it again. And it is actually, I don't even think this is an overreaction. I think this is a real reaction. So, yeah, Algier didn't play. I think he was a healthy scratch, or they just didn't give him the ball. But at the moment, Cordarelle Patterson, until he stops rushing for 100 plus yards on 20 carries, I don't think he can be sit.
The man's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that he didn't do this for 8 years of his career, and now all of a sudden it's clockwork.
It's weird.
Wild to me.
I think I'm the same age as him, and my knee hurts, and I haven't played any athletic things in the last. Actually, that's not true. I played volleyball not too long ago, but yeah. But like, I don't know. Like, this man we are the exact same age, and this man is running for 100 yards in the National Football League, and my knee hurts.
That's fair. I mean, we said it. I said it before the season when we were going over. He's the CC's buffet of running backs, and you're not necessarily love it, but you're going to go up there and grab a piece. And if you have him, you're very happy. Especially those teams that picked him up last year in waivers in Dynasty, and are just like still having to roll him out there because he's still worth a spot on the field. It's just hilarious to say the least.
You have zero reason to take him out of your lineup. So
yeah, you really.
I mean, they're playing the Rams this week, and I think you still keep him in your lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Even with Mariota, like even with everything that is on that team that's new, you still have to put him out there. So, okay, well, the last overreaction for the podcast is I think the Cardinals are the worst team in the NFL, and I'm saying this because the defense is terrible. I realize that Patrick Mahomes is who he is. That team is not a 44 points in one single game good of a team. I am not trying to take anything away from Mahomes at all. I'm not trying to, at least. I know it's going to come off that way. I promise you I'm not. But this defense couldn't stop anything. They're letting players like Jody Fortson, the preseason hero, out there score touchdowns in the regular season. It's ridiculous. They have Budda Baker, they have Jalen Thompson, and the entire rest of the defense is just a bunch of average people. And I don't think they're going to stop anybody this entire season. Fire everybody. In my opinion, you're going to have to fire everybody you have up on your team against them because your team's going to be eaten. And the offense didn't score. They scored 21 points for the game. One of those was in garbage time. The second one was, in my opinion, the game was still way out of reach by the time they scored it. And Kyler Murray does not look great without DeAndre Hopkins. The run game is a hot ass mess. We should have seen James Conner not being good behind this O-line coming from a mile away, but we just trusted that team would be able to get to the red zone, and they couldn't. I just think this team is bad, and it's not necessarily Kyler Murray's fault, and it's not really like Marquise Brown. It's not like any one piece's fault. The team as a whole, it just isn't very good. They're using Greg Dortch.
Offense aside, because I don't think the offense is as bad as you think. You just hate Kyler Murray, which is fine.
I don't hate Kyler Murray.
He's got his damn
jersey. Have his jersey right there.
Okay. Offense aside, Joe hates Kyler Murray. There we go.
Not personally. I just don't think he belongs in the NFL.
He doesn't belong in the NFL. Anyway, the defense itself, though, makes no sense to me because they keep drafting these rookie linebackers, which neither one has really worked out. Yeah, Zaven Collins gets tackles, sure. Isaiah Simmons has been a complete bust at this point. I mean, I think I can say it. They have a top 10 secondary. There should, on paper at least. between Byron Murphy, Buda Baker, and Jalen Thompson. And then they let Jordan Hicks walk for one of these crappy rookie wide linebackers. I just don't get it. Like, I get their D line isn't great by any means, but like the 5 of those people should be able to like make some semblance of a defense look decent. I know it's Patrick Mahomes and I know he picked them apart, but at the same time, it makes no sense to me how they could not stop him once. Get a pick, just have good coverage on a corner, like, or on a wide receiver. Like, you got Juju and Valdez Scantling running around out there. Yeah, Kelsey's a mismatch, sure, but isn't that what you signed these fast linebackers for? It makes no sense to me.
So
the
literally
defense
what Simmons was supposed to do. He was supposed to be able to cover a tight end. Like, that's why they have him.
And we saw what Kelsey did last week.
Their defensive line is bottom 5. Their offensive line is probably bottom 5. You got a quarterback that can't see over the line, no significant wide receivers, and just no overall team spirit. So I don't like them.
It just does. I realize that the offense on paper looks really good, but James Conner does not inspire, like running 15 yards down the field. I don't know if I've ever seen James Conner in the last 3 years run 15 yards down the field. And Kyler isn't going to have any time to scramble because literally he's not even going to see his O-line. Like, he doesn't even need to see over him, Joe. The defensive line is going to be in his face already by the time.
Yeah, and he damn sure can't see over them.
No, he won't. And he won't be able to scramble because he won't be able to get away. It's just this team looks horrible and they're going to be bad this year.
Yeah, this offense is predicated on having a wide receiver 1, which they do have in Hopkins. The suspension's really killing them. But, I mean, you got a bunch of below average guys trying to fill in for a DeAndre Hopkins, and it is not working.
Jets aside, they'll never be favored. They cannot be. There's just no way.
I think what's going to happen this next couple of weeks is it's going to be the Zach Ertz show. And now that he's starting to get back to healthy, it's going to be dump offs. It's going to be 10-yard passes. He's going to run for 10 more. But at the same time, who the hell is Dortch? Why is he relevant? Where are these other receivers? I know they're not great.
He had some hype in the preseason, but
AJ Green's supposed to be out there.
Where's Marquise Brown?
Used, but he's not. I mean, Marquise Brown was used. Like, those two needed a couple weeks to get going anyway. But Dortch ends up being
he used
the guy.
I mean,
not heavily used, but like he was involved. But just it was between Marquise Brown and Greg Dortch. Like, you're not going to win football games with that. Like, God, just sad to see. Sad to see.